Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hello everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everybody's just feeling great, feeling good. We're going to do an album review here, but before we get into that, I kind of feel like a freaking jerk. There's something I've been needing to mention, and I've been forgetting it and forgetting it and forgetting it just because I've been so busy. I've written an essay, a review of an album that has been in my music collection for a long time. In fact, this album is the album that has stayed in my music collection longer than any other LP. What is that album? You have to click on the link in the D box to read the essay. It's on this website called mylifeinreview.net. Music is reviewed, but from a sort of autobiographical or memoir-esque perspective. So, interesting concept. Come on, click the link. Come on. Alright, so I've gotten a flood of requests for this thing. It is the Tron Legacy soundtrack, of course, composed by Daft Punk, and yeah, this will be my first soundtrack review ever. There have been other soundtracks you guys have asked me to review earlier this year. I've kind of just passed by them, and you know what? Soundtracks are just so hit or miss for me. Just take this video as an opportunity to kind of get a whiff as to what's going on with this LP, because as a Daft Punk fan, I'm really curious to see what the guys have pulled together on this thing. So, do we have heavy beats and robot vocals and club bangers? No. Move along. But this thing is interesting nevertheless. It's an epic combination of Daft Punk's knack for creating interesting electronic textures and an 85-piece chamber orchestra. If you're a soundtrack addict, you're going to catch whiffs of masters like John Carpenter. That guy's tense, busy melodies are all over this thing, especially in the strings as they just build gargantuan climaxes. Of course, there are more influences floating throughout this thing. The original soundtrack of Tron is clearly a reference point, but I was catching a lot of Blade Runner soundtrack, Vangelis, on here as well. Of course, there are moments that seem overtly classical with very little to no electronics at all. The Overture, for me, is an example where they're really pushing that crescendo power of the chamber orchestra. There are slow, soft synth odysseys, some rough, distorted moments that bring a lot of tension and drama to the table. There are really only several tracks that are what we've kind of come to expect from Daft Punk, with constant beats, just a real dance atmosphere. But if that's all you're here for, there's not going to be enough of that to really keep you all that interested. The production is fantastic. It's most certainly more expensive than my car. It sounds gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. The sounds are so freaking lush. However, I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it a lot, even though I do find this to be extremely impressive. Here, you're not getting a Juno soundtrack full of popular little cutesy indie bands that kind of feels like a mixtape that you can take home and listen to anytime you'd like. This, my friends, is a score. And the thing about a score is that it's specifically tailored to the needs of the film. And the last time I really fell in love with the score was the movie There Will Be Blood, which many of you may know was written by Radiohead guitarist Jonny Greenwood. However, I would never buy or really enjoy that soundtrack by itself, because it's a score. It's meant to be enjoyed with the film. One hand washes the other. There's so many tracks here that just kind of meander and don't go anywhere. There are a lot of tracks that as soon as they climax, they just end. This thing isn't meant to be enjoyed in the same way that you would enjoy a Daft Punk album. There's something missing here, and it's the film. The only thing this soundtrack really did for me is made me want to see the movie. So bad. So I'm feeling a strong, this is a pretty freaking cool soundtrack, you should check it out if you're into scores. I'm not really, but I have to recognize impressive production and instrumentation when I hear it. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, you should hear it. So guys, if you've heard the soundtrack, heard a couple tracks off of it, let me know what you think. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why? And What artist would you like to see make a soundtrack? Make a score? Do you think it's awesome that Daft Punk is scoring this thing? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Daft Punk, Tron Legacy soundtrack, forever.